Cold and breezy tonight with rain and sleet on high ground, with slight frost in any clear spells and overnight lows of 1 to 4 degrees. Now you're up to date on News Talk.
The Football Show on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by BoyleSports. Now with same-day withdrawals to your Visa debit card.
I'm prepared to do anything I can to play for my country again.
Do it then.
What about your start to the game?
It wasn't bad, was it?
Why should an honest answer be a mistake?
How can a modern day manager not have a mobile phone?
Why should he?
Well, there's literally drool on the table in front of Kevin Kilbane as he watches young Foden go about his business. Look at that, more drool.
It's just great to watch again. I mean, Laporte just had a chance there for Man City. It was actually a good save from Etheridge, but more drool over De Bruyne, Joe. Kevin De Bruyne has been just incredible tonight.
He's back.
He is back, and he looked good at the weekend watching the game. Foden's just put a cross in with his left foot for Laporte. Brilliant ball. It was actually straight at Etheridge in goal, but the two of them, they've dovetailed great with each other. They've had the City midfielder in Fernandinho, and both Foden and De Bruyne have had such an influence on this game that, you know, you're looking to get Fernandinho back in, you know, certainly after the injuries he had. You're looking to get De Bruyne back fit and get him right, and tonight it's worked brilliantly.
He makes lots of good decisions on the pitch for an 18-year-old, Phil Foden.
He does, yeah. I'd spoke to you a few times, and I used to go and watch his youth team when he was 16, when he was playing for City. And
is that just because you were mates with Lee Carsley? Yeah.
Yeah. Lee used to live with me in Manchester, so I'd
go along. If
I wasn't working on the Saturday, I'd just head down and just maybe go and watch 60 minutes or go and watch 70 minutes or something, and then
they must have murdered teams, did they?
Yeah, there was a lot of talent as well. There was a lot of talented sides around, but invariably they won. Yeah, they did win.
Yeah.
Just incredible footballers. You know, I said before, Sancho and Foden and the goalkeeper that's on the bench tonight, Muric. They were just so good to watch. It was just an incredible watch. Dominated the ball. Side scored against them. It was a breakaway, a long ball pumped forward from a set piece. Something. It was things like that. They played just like the first team.
And was Foden doing outrageous things that he's not going to quite be able to do at senior level?
Do you know what I like about him? No, he's doing the same things. Right. He doesn't over-elaborate. When I was watching Sancho, Sancho used to over-elaborate. He used to try and beat his man 20 times.
That's what I mean. He's a very mature 18-year-old as a player. I don't know anything about him as a person, but he's really mature on the pitch for an 18-year-old.
He's so composed, takes the ball in tight areas. That's not a problem to him. But he doesn't try and do anything he can't do. Everything's, I wouldn't want to say basic, because some of the stuff he does is ridiculous.
Tidy.
But tidy, yeah. But he even said that. I think that might be doing him a bit of a disservice by saying that. He does great things. He times his run.
Quality, that's the word. Everything's
clever.
Quality.
Everything's quality. That's better. That's better. Doesn't give it away. Keeps it ticking over. Times his runs well. He's obviously listening to what Guardiola. I remember Lee was saying then when he was 16, he had 3 or 4 lads that would be regularly up with the first team. He saw his group of players that he had, and he wanted to try and get them all up as quickly as possible. And they're getting the rewards for that now, and that's why, yeah.
So staying with City for a moment, Pep Guardiola here was watching the Liverpool game, and he was asked about whether or not he thinks Liverpool are destined to win the league, Kev.
What do you think?
When you see a goal like Liverpool got in the last minute of a game, like Sundays, do you sometimes think that fate or luck is on their side, or do you think all that kind of talk is irrelevant?
No, when you see them, say, shit. But after 5-10 minutes, nice, terrible challenge. So nobody said it would be easy. Nobody. So I know that, I knew it, we know it, and better challenge it is. So after a while, wow, it will be amazing what we're going to live and accept it. This, against incredible team to fight against them. So when yesterday I saw Arsenal, how good are they playing in the last period with incredible manager Unai, and the incredible distance that we have is because we have done incredible so far, and I think everybody is excited, to live what we are going to live the next weeks. In the same times, we know in 1 week we can lose everything.
Quite honest there, his feelings when Liverpool scored that goal.
Good.
There's no Mendy. So Mendy hasn't played for Manchester City since November 11th. He's injured his knees again. That's getting a bit worrying. He's 24 years of age.
He's been fit though, Joe. He's been fit for the last while. He trained at the weekend even though he was fit. But the story that's circulating...
I'll tell you what he is doing, Kev. I'll tell you what he is doing. He's out there. and he's having a good time. So Sunday evening, he's in a nightclub at 2:30 in the morning, spotted pesky camera phones.
No, Joe, it's Saturday morning, Friday night, Saturday morning, when he was due to be reporting to training on the Monday morning, on the Saturday morning.
Okay, so out the night before?
Out the night before training, yeah.
Before training.
But he is teetotal.
Is he?
Yeah.
So he just likes being out having the crack?
Yeah.
God, being out at 2:30 sober.
There was no sing-songs, Joe. There's no sing-songs in the pub, I tell you.
That is a nightmare thought.
Yeah.
Now, maybe he's in nicer places than I might have been.
Yeah, he's just having a good time, isn't he? He's enjoying life.
Well, here's Pep Guardiola.
Yeah. I don't know if you're aware, but there's video footage of him in a nightclub in Manchester at 3:30 a.m. on Saturday. I know he wasn't part of the squad going down to Fulham, but for a player recovering from injury who's had persistent injuries, are you happy with that, to see a player?
They are old enough. They are old enough to know what they have to do. I'm not his father.
But did he train on Saturday, Mendy?
Yeah.
So as his manager, are you happy for a player who's training?
I would prefer to go sleep earlier, but I'm not control the players of that situations. So.
But does it exasperate you?
No.
You're not frustrated by that?
No.
But you prefer if he wasn't in a nightclub at 3:30 in the morning?
You don't like, but I'm a relaxed guy. Maybe it don't look like, but I sleep quite well.
But you're happy that he's committed to being...
I answered that question
fully
already.
fit.
Imagine Mendy watching that saying, "Shut up!
Yeah.
What are you doing? Who is this guy?"
That's it. That's probably his editor, isn't it? Probably get an answer on that. Get an answer on it. Yeah. I mean, he's so big on Twitter and Instagram, isn't he? He's just never off it. And I've been waiting for him all season to get himself fit. He's only made 9 Premier League appearances, 5 assists already quickly in the season. But you mentioned that knee injury that he got in November. That is a worry. It is a worry that he's had 2 injuries now, 2 major injuries since he signed for City. And City are supposedly looking at Ben Chilwell, amongst others, for a left-back. So it looks like his days are numbered. That's what I would say. But he was on the bench, I think, not last week and the weekend before. So he's obviously just not part of Guardiola's plans. Zinchenko's gone off injured tonight, so this could change the mindset. Danilo's gone left-back, who he's played there before, and Kyle Walker's gone right-back. But this is a different game.
Yeah.
I think you're looking in a different game, a different environment. Maybe the Tottenham matches, when you're looking for that bit of quality in the final third, I think Mendy brings it. But
he's amazing.
Maybe he just wants to stay out of the nightclub. Too much dancing, Joe, you know.
He's an amazing player, but you just think you look at Guardiola and the way he's talked to him about his social media, and you get the sense that Guardiola really likes him.
Yeah.
And in that documentary, the year Mendy was out injured, he loved him and he was still a part of the fabric of the team.
Yeah.
But there will be a point where Guardiola says, "I'm sorry, I really like you.
Yeah.
And when I bump into you in 20 years, I'm still going to give you a hug, but I'm kicking you out of the club."
Well, exactly. He needs the professional player to get himself fit. He needs him on the pitch.
Yeah, I wonder if Mendy's grasping that. So, Chelsea, we've got a goal for you, Kev, at Stamford Bridge. They're against Brighton. Nigel Bidmead.
It's now Chelsea 3, Brighton 0. Eden Hazard's goal a couple of minutes ago was a cracker, and now Ruben Loftus-Cheek has scored an even better one, 20 yards out, allowed to turn, and he found the top corner. Magic goal. Chelsea 3, Brighton 0.
There we are, Chelsea coasting.
Yeah. Well, they needed to after the weekend. They struggled at the weekend against Cardiff badly. They were terrible, Joe. Absolutely terrible.
"We want Sarri out" was the really loud cry just before the 2 goals.
Yeah.
He's on borrowed time, it feels. It's not working.
It seems it to me. I don't know where he's going to go. I really don't. I don't know where his team are going to go. Chelsea is what I'm talking about. Lads were talking about earlier on, you could see it even if he had a struggle tonight, and obviously it's not worked out that way, but if there's a struggle, you could see him leaving, and then they want to have a go at the Europa League. Let's have a go at the Europa League and get a name in that's going to take the club to the end of the season.
Avram Grant.
Avram Grant, yeah.
Get him back. Roberto Di Matteo.
Who else is there?
Gus
Hiddink.
Gus Hiddink, yeah.
Yeah, John Terry. Prize him away from Aston Villa. Could you do that? You see that? I could see something like that anyway.
See Frank Lampard. I think Frank Lampard would have too much sense to go near it for a while.
Well, yeah, I doubt he'd leave Derby, considering the position that Derby in at the moment, to go there on an interim basis. I couldn't see that.
No. So let's check in on Spurs then. Andrew Shiel.
Spurs 1, Palace 0 it remains. The goal officially credited to Son, but it definitely took a deflection off of defender Milivojevic on its way into the back of the net. Harry Kane should have doubled the lead. He was one-on-one with the keeper, but he blazed high, wide and rather ugly. Palace trying to up their game, certainly more urgency and pace about the visitors since they went behind, but Spurs still look more likely to score. It's Tottenham 1, Palace 0.
So just before we get into the Oireachtas committee this afternoon, Dan McDonald's going to join us. Wolves 2, Manchester United 1 was the big scoreline last night. Here were some thoughts from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
As I was 3 hours ago, I've said we need 15 points in the last 7 games, or 18 points in the last 8 before. So after the international break, got 3 against Watford. Now we need 15 in the last 6. So we don't have room for many more losses. No.
It is a difficult run as well, isn't it?
It is, but then again we are a very good team as well. So it'll be difficult for the ones that's going to play against us as well. This was always going to be a tough game, and the performance deserved the win.
You thought they were decent as well, Kev?
Yeah, I thought they create chances. It's just
didn't take them.
They don't look great defensively, though, do they? And something that Mourinho spoke about for a long time, defensively, the suspect crosses going into the area. I think even diagonal balls that's played over the shoulder of defenders, they get caught out. I don't think they sort the body out well enough as the 2 central defenders or whoever it is that's going to be playing those positions. Certainly the 2 last night, and they get caught out. And that last night, with the ball that was played in, the goal that they conceded, the own goal, it was a terrible goal at that level. Given the quality they've got going forward, of course Rashford out last night probably didn't help them, but they've got more than enough to be winning that game, seeing it through, get the job done. Even if you come away with a draw in that match, don't concede a goal like that at that level. And it seems to happen too often with them. Because for all, David De Gea is incredible goalkeeper, as we know, he's exposed too much. You know, if I look at Ederson, if I look at Alisson at at Liverpool, brilliant goalkeepers, but how much are they tested, seriously tested? And yes, both are exposed at times, given how both sides play. But United, given that you've got a manager there of Mourinho, how he's supposed to be protecting his goalkeeper and how solid a back four is going to be, they were far too open, and that's the problem for them.
He's saying they need 15 points from their remaining 6 games. Let's do a little quick-fire game here. Here's their remaining fixture list. You can give me a win or a draw or a loss here. So they need 5 wins here.
Yeah.
West Ham at home.
Win, yeah.
Jeez, they're screwed if you're giving that one that much thought. The rest don't get much better. Okay, win just about. That's 1 win.
Yeah.
Everton away.
Toffee's good win at the weekend. I'd think, a draw that'll be.
Okay, they're in trouble then. Man City at home. 3 days later.
No, I can't see that.
Can you not?
I can't. They might get a surge. It might be the sort of thing that City could have gone out the Champions League, or certainly struggled in the Champions League. They play Spurs around that time as well. No, I'll say City win.
Okay, so they play Everton, they draw there. 3 days later, City win. 4 days later, Chelsea.
Yeah, win.
At Old Trafford.
Chelsea, yeah.
Right, okay.
I fancy them to beat them.
Huddersfield away.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Cardiff at home.
Yeah.
So that is 3 points, 4 points, 7 points.
4, I've got 4 wins.
10.
1 draw and a loss.
And 13. You're giving them 13 points. They need 15.
Yeah.
Kev,
would you have that? I mean, they will beat West Ham. I'd fancy them to beat West Ham at home. West Ham at the weekend, I was at the Everton game, and West Ham switched off. It was a poor performance from them. But Everton...
I think you're a bit right. Everton is tricky away.
But Everton, they look to me like they're having to prove something at the end of the season. They've had a bad season.
Just to mark your card, Arsenal by a distance have the easiest run. Now, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's definitely the easiest. So they have Everton away, Watford, they have Crystal Palace, they have Wolves, they have Leicester away. That's tricky. They have Brighton and they have Burnley. That's a much easier run than anyone else has.
Yeah, you say that, but... And I wouldn't disagree with what you're saying there as well. Watford, I could see that maybe... Watford have potentially got an FA Cup final to be bothering about. Everton away, as I said before, Everton are a different kettle of fish at the moment. They should beat Palace, but Palace might have something to play for at the bottom. Wolves away, no. Leicester away, no. Brighton and Burnley, then the last 2 games of the season, have something to play for. So it's not necessarily an easy run in my mind, that, no.
Okay.
Not as easy as you would.
Twists and turns, yeah, that's fair enough. So we're taking a short break here. Chelsea 3-0 up on Brighton, Man City 2-0 up on Cardiff, Spurs 1-0 up on Crystal Palace. Short break, and then Dan McDonald will join us. We've already gone through some of the highlights and lowlights from the Sport Ireland appearance at the Oireachtas Committee on Transport, Tourism and Sport. Dan was there as well, and we'll talk to him next.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by BoyleSports. Now with same-day withdrawals to your Visa debit card.
You've bottled it on the property tax. The government has bottled it on the property tax, and not for the first time.
I accept why you're putting the question to me, because it is the deferral of a valuation date. But the reason why I'm doing this is if we keep in the direction that we are going at the moment, 58% of people will face an increase of €200 or more next year.
Hear the full News Talk Breakfast podcast at newstalk.com and on the News Talk app.
There's not a lot you can get for €30. Have your car valeted, meet a friend for lunch, or watch the match on a new big screen TV. With Harvey Norman's interest-free finance terms, you can take home what you really want today. From just €30 a month, you could watch your movies with surround sound or get through twice the laundry with a new large-capacity washing machine. Interest-free finance terms with Harvey Norman. What would you get?
No! Standard fees, terms and conditions apply, subject to assessment. Finance provided by Flexify Europe Limited. For full terms and conditions, visit harveynorman.ie/flexi-fi.
If you're thinking of buying a residential rental property, ICS Mortgages can provide an excellent range of flexible buy-to-let mortgages, including interest-only terms of up to 15 years. We'll also help you to refinance your existing portfolio and grow your property investments. Call 1890 427 427, visit icsmortgages.ie or contact your local mortgage broker. ICS Mortgages, the property investor's choice. Lending criteria, terms and conditions apply and are subject to change. The entire amount that you have borrowed will still be outstanding at the end of the interest-only period. Dillosk DAC, trading as Dillosk and ICS Mortgages, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Not happy with your horse in the Grand National Office Sweepstake? Top tip, QuinBet has you covered right through the festival and beyond, with a huge selection of markets on horse racing plus all your favourite sports. And now with live casino and Irish lottery betting. You can find us on mobile, app and PC. QuinBet.com. T's and C's apply. Gamble responsibly. Visit gambleaware.ie.
The Audi Approved Plus used car sales event is now on. Discover your premium used Audi today with a 12-month warranty and exclusive 3.9% APR, available only at your local authorised Audi dealer. It doesn't have to be new to be everything you've dreamed of. Finance is made under a hire purchase agreement and subject to lending criteria. Deposit required. Terms and conditions apply. Volkswagen Bank GmbH Branch Ireland is authorised by the Federal Financial Supervisory Authority in Germany and regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland for conduct of business rules. Visit audi.ie/used cars. Visit Audi Centre, Bracken Road, Sandyford today to avail of our exclusive offers and test drive your future Audi.
This is Cuiva Dabara of Trócaire, urgently asking for your help. By donating to our Lenten Appeal right now, you can help people who have lost everything due to the flooding in Mozambique, Zimbabwe and Malawi, as well as supporting our work with families all over the world. Please donate now by calling 1850 408 408 or at trócaire.org. Thank you.
Off the Ball. This is News Talk.
Now, welcome back. Ericsson has scored for Spurs, by the way, just during that ad break. So they're 2-0 up against Crystal Palace, very comfortable at the new stadium. Man City 2-0 up on Cardiff and Chelsea 3-0 up on Brighton. Dan McDonald, Irish Independent there, hello.
Hi Joe, how are things?
Good, so you sat through the, 4 hours of the Oireachtas Committee on Transport, Tourism and Sport today?
4 hours, yeah, so 2 matches worth I guess. But I have to say, you know, given previous reservations about this committee process, and while there were maybe long sections of it that maybe meandered along a bit for anyone who sat through it, I have to say it was a much more maybe worthwhile or robust exercise in parts than maybe the previous time. And I think you might have touched on this earlier, but they got rid of the old format of asking a load of questions at one and then people answering both. There was a back and forth element to this that A, made it a good exercise today, but B, suggests there will be a better one next Wednesday.
Case in point, here's the only clip I'll play and then we'll get your thoughts on the overall proceedings. Deputy Imelda Munster, this pretty key exchange with John Tracy.
Do you find it credible that an organisation like the FAI would be in such dire financial situation that it would have to resort to getting a loan of 100,000 from their CEO's personal bank account? Do you think that is credible?
We find it extraordinary, to be quite honest. And
That is why we've asked the questions that we've asked. We're waiting for an answer. As you see from today, we didn't get an answer. And generally, if an organisation, and we've had experience of this down through the years, if an organisation is in financial trouble, they come in and talk to us. And it might be a timing issue, it might be dues or affiliation fees are not due until a month later. And we work with the organisations to oversee and make sure they meet that cash flow issue. A lot of them are very tight on funding. That is generally the way it's done. There's dialogue with ourselves, and we are there to help and support these organisations. And the organisations have continued and prospered. But occasionally they do run into trouble. But there is dialogue. There was no dialogue around this.
Okay, thank you. So, given the recent decisions taken by the FAI board, and you just touched on it there, the fact that they didn't inform you that they're in financial difficulties, the fact that it wasn't accounted for in their accounts, that you weren't informed of it, that they changed the rules to allow long-serving members remain in situ for further 4 years, despite the fact that many of them had exceeded the recommended term under the governance code, and the fact that they've created a job for John Delaney that allows him to attend board meetings without being a member. Given all of that and everything that's come to light in recent weeks, do you have confidence in the FAI board?
I would like, when we ask questions of the FAI, as we'd expect from every organisation, that they would answer them post-haste, as quickly as possible.
As it stands, do you have confidence in the FAI board? As it stands right now, we have many questions. Do you have confidence in the board?
Well, let's put it this way. Where we are at the moment is this. We've asked questions and we haven't got answers. And that raises serious concerns within the executive and within Sport Ireland.
Yeah, we all know it raises serious concerns, but my specific question was, do you have confidence in the FAI board? So yes or no answer.
Well, I'm not saying yes.
Probably, Dan, from what I saw a good bit of it, the most dramatic moment of the Oireachtas committee this afternoon there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a small room, Joe. You know, I know obviously you're watching it on, you know, people that are watching it on a stream or, you know, TV or whatever way they were watching it. I mean, the size of the room is what you see on the screen, you know, with the exception of maybe 2 rows at the back for a viewing platform, you know, so there's around, you know, maybe 10, 12, 14 sort of media in there going in and out. So, I mean, when you're close enough to sort of, you know, you could sort of not quite tip someone on the shoulder, but be pretty close. And yeah, that sort of silence when he was about to deliver that answer, certainly you could feel it. And you know, the significance of what was being said, it was being digested, but really it wasn't massively out of tune, his answer, with what they've been saying consistently throughout their appearance.
Thinly veiled frustration, I would say, as well, with the fact that the FAI only responded to a second Sport Ireland letter late last night, hand-delivered this morning, and the gist of that letter was, well, we can't really give you any more information about this €100,000 loan until the Mazars audit has taken place. And John Tracy said there is no legitimate reason why they can't provide us with that information. In fact, they're obligated to. Yeah, and this review, of course, that was commissioned and announced last week, you know, well after the initial correspondence, say, with Sport Ireland about this issue, well after the story broke initially. So, you know, the FAI now is saying that they're effectively, you know, they're commissioning a review to find out the circumstances behind something which actually, in an initial FAI statement, in response to the furore, they said that the board of the FAI had been informed of all matters. Yeah. Now we were being told that they cannot reply to someone else's queries on this matters until they have an external review. So I think people can digest that in whatever way they choose. Yeah. Another area that came up was what kind of powers Sport Ireland have, you know, and it seemed that John Tracy and Kieran Mulvey were trying to point out that they only give the FAI maybe 2.7 million a year. Yeah, with, say, boxing, they might give 70 or 80% of the annual turnover in the Boxing Association. Therefore, they have a far greater insight into the ongoings and the spending, and in terms of auditing, they can do a whole lot more. But 2.7 million of the FAI's 50 million limits their powers of investigation.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was a theme of the whole event, the whole hearing. This was a discussion between, an Oireachtas Committee and Sport Ireland. Both bodies were effectively saying there's only so much they can do. There's only so much they can do with regard to the governance of the FAI, that, Sport Ireland do have a nuclear option in terms of cutting funding, but they don't really want to do that because the main reason is that it probably hurts the areas that need the funding. Rather than necessarily sort of chopping down some other part of the association, So obviously the optics of doing that are worrying, and also, the FAI receives state funding, but they are still, they're still a private organisation in terms of how they can govern themselves to a degree, I think we touched on this before. Government interference, say, and getting involved in telling an association what to do in terms of appointing positions, that risks sanctions from FIFA. So I think both parties are aware and perhaps a little bit frustrated, and that was Fergus O'Dowd, the chair's almost closing message, that they're almost aware that there's a certain weakness about their position. But I suppose at the same time, by having such a public hearing and discussing it, they can't sort of enforce change, but they're certainly enabling real discussion around it.
Trying to look ahead to next week in a way, there was a dramatic moment at the start where Fergus O'Dowd and Noel Rock had a bit of a disagreement. Noel Rock, on the back of John Tracy reading out the FAI letter which said, well, we can't give you any more information, Noel Rock almost wanted to abandon ship and say, well, this is a fiasco, we won't say another thing until the FAI give us the information. So if you take that as a point of view, next week, if John Delaney turns up and says, we can't give you any more information about the loan until after this Mazars audit is done, then Noel Rock, for one, is probably going to lose his marbles in a very nice way.
Oh, I would have thought so, yeah. And I, as I said, the one thing that today would have confirmed is that any fears, I guess, that the FAI are going to get a similar treatment to the last time round, they're out the window. And as I said, even the format, and I did check afterwards, it will be the same format next week, so they're not, there's not going to be a decision next week about doing things the old way in terms of a block of questions. The format for today is the format for next week, and and I think also from the position of the committee, you get the sense that they're very keen that they get the right people in to answer the questions, and not people who will be able to, I suppose, devolve responsibility because it's not their area. Yeah. I think they're very clear about the areas in which they want to ask questions.
Yeah, so look, that's going to be a big moment if the FAI turn up and say, we can't give you any more information about the loan. Because you can imagine the committee looking around at each other and saying, well, okay, but that's not really acceptable.
Well, that's they can say that, but that's they can't. That's not going to be the end of the process. As we know, there was quite a large viewing today, and everyone there, every committee member gets their 10 minutes or whatever. Yeah. So the FAI can try and not answer the question once or twice, but if the cameras are on them and if everyone's monitoring their response and stuff, that in itself, I don't think they're going to come out of that process looking good.
It'll be a long 4 hours.
You just have to, when you think how extraordinary it is, that you just stand back for a minute here and think that 4 hours this afternoon dissecting the governance of football, in Ireland, and probably raising a lot of questions that have lingered for some time, and there's been maybe a bit of frustration that they haven't been raised. And beyond the odd, as I said, the odd media gripe here and there, or the odd outlier here and there having a comment, that now just sitting through it today, you're like, this is remarkable. This is a pretty, by the standards of Irish football crises, it's certainly heading up there. And how much more can be withstood along these lines? And we've already had 2 weeks almost non-stop of this. How much more is there going to be? There's next Wednesday, there's the outcome of next Wednesday, and yet there's a sense that the FAI are hanging in there, trying to ride this one out. But what sort of damage has been done as part of that process. I mean, how are people? I know we're getting a lot of emails, and I've certainly received quite a few of them. And a lot of other people are getting emails from, grassroots clubs around the country. But at the same time, in any context, how can this be good for the game? How can this be good for sponsors? How can this be good for people watching on? Thinking Irish football now is synonymous with people in a committee talking about how things have been run in a very strange manner. It's not a great look.
Board limits came up. Catherine Murphy had a quote from John Delaney, which I wasn't familiar with, but around the time of the Genesis report, where he was voicing his frustration that actually 5 years was too long for him to implement the changes at board level, or for the FAI to implement the turnover at board level that Genesis was recommending. And yet here we are in 2019 and things have not changed very much. They spent a good bit of time on the board, the makeup of the board, the length of time the board had been serving.
They did, yeah, and I mean, there was a lot covered today, and even that Genesis section may not necessarily say get top billing in some of the reports or reviews, because there was so much other stuff going on. But yeah, that in itself, I think it was Frank Feehan as well who was pressing home that point. I mean, it's been reported or written or recorded on a number of occasions that, yeah, I mean, Genesis was a massive FAI report, where one of the main recommendations was that 2 external directors would sit on the board. I mean, people at the time, there was a bit of wrangling at the time over how desperate everyone was to implement Genesis and how important that would be. And yet ultimately, time went by, a new regime settled in, and Genesis was not applied, and those recommendations weren't applied. And we still have a situation where a lot of people on the board have been there since 2004 when it wasn't implemented. So these are the type of questions that, in my view, should have been posed more regularly by people within Irish football, posed more regularly by delegates and people who attend the AGM and council and FAI meetings to ask these questions. They haven't asked them. And what we have maybe next Wednesday is a situation where the FAI hierarchy, FAI board members might actually be asked some of these questions directly and persistently in a forum where they can't really dodge the answer, because I don't know what satisfactory reason there is for not doing so.
Dan, we'll leave it there. Thanks a million.
Thanks very much, Joe. Talk to you.
Cheers. Dan McDonald there, Irish Independent. He'll be writing about that tomorrow. Somebody texted in, I noticed when United made mistakes in defence, whether a goal came or not, there was no United player in defence having a go for the mistakes. Rio and Vidic would have been going mad, demanding more, says Shane in Kildare.
I think that's across the board now. I think you certainly see a different breed, a different mentality with a modern football. You don't necessarily see a lot of the time players having a go at each other on the pitch, where it was maybe a common thing, maybe 10, 15 years ago, I suppose.
Harry says, Joe, can I interrupt your Chelsea sneering? Was I sneering at Chelsea? We were talking about Sarri being under pressure.
You saying Sarri's gone, basically.
Oh yeah, I don't see it working out, but that wasn't sneering.
No.
Didn't think. Can I interrupt your Chelsea sneering and remind you 2005 to 2018, 16 major titles. Your beloved Liverpool would love that, says Harry.
Your beloved Liverpool.
Wrong team, Harry.
I think they've won more trophies, haven't they, in the last 15, 16 years? They've won more than anybody.
Wrong team, Harry.
Yeah, it is the wrong team.
My beloved Liverpool. That is a first.
Yeah.
So, no, look, it's worked for them. Chelsea are actually the exception that proved the rule that a manager needs stability.
Is it? I don't know.
They've won so many trophies. It's extraordinary. And the inter-managers have had so much success.
Yes, that's true. But I thought when they've had the real success is when they've had certainly a new manager. New manager's gone in, and I know they've got rid of Ancelotti over the years. They've got rid of Mourinho as well over the years, and managers have gone in interim basis and won Champions League, of course, Roberto Di Matteo. But I never feel as though it's going to be the best for a long term. I don't. And
no, it's not a long-term plan.
Yeah, I know that. But what I'm saying to you is, you're looking at over 15 years, and you're thinking, yeah, they've won the most trophies. I always felt it was going to come back and bite them. And I think now they're in a position, I don't see that Chelsea side, no matter who goes in there, getting a massive lift out of them. I don't. Now with the transfer ban as well that's in place.
See, I think the issue is, yes, the transfer ban, and also Roman Abramovich's enthusiasm for things has waned. He's not even allowed into the country. He doesn't go to games. You look at their spending, they're not what they were.
Yeah, I don't know. I take the point is it's been successful, but there was something that I always felt it was going to happen.
I'm sure it was very corrosive in the environment and very messy. And
can you imagine what it was like behind the scenes?
I'd say it was carnage at times, yeah. Kev, France Football have revealed the top 5 highest earners, footballers and managers. So, players, number 5, Gareth Bale.
You love the cash talk, don't you?
Yeah, I'm obsessed with it. Yeah. Gareth Bale, 40 million euros. Everything here is euros. 40 million Gareth Bale's pulling in.
That's from wages from the club?
Yeah.
Right, bloody hell.
Number 4, Antoine Griezmann, 44 million.
Atletico Madrid, no wonder he signed that contract last summer.
Number 3, Neymar, 91 million.
Jesus, that's some jump, isn't it? double.
Number 2, Cristiano Ronaldo, 113 million euro.
Jeez.
Number 1,
of course,
Messi, 133 million.
Is that not with endorsements and everything?
No, money from the club, salaries.
That's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, what Messi has done for Barcelona, can you imagine the amount of shirts and merchandise and everything that they sell worldwide on Messi?
I mean, you don't want to say a bargain at twice the price because that would be obscene, but yeah. So, top 5 managers. This one is going to get you. Number 5, Ernesto Valverde, 23 million.
Really?
More than you thought?
Yeah.
Number 4, Pep Guardiola, 24 million at Man City.
Yeah, that means I'm thinking, because of Antoine Griezmann, I'm thinking Simeone has to be in there.
Number 3, Thierry Henry.
Is he?
25 million he got for that tobacco.
Get out of it. You know, honestly, God, now.
He got 25 million.
How can that be ever justified?
Well, none of it can be, but he got 25 million for what, about 12 weeks' work?
But that's the killer, isn't it? You know, like young coaches coming into the game. I'll let you lay your last to be. You know, coaches coming into the game.
Hey, don't worry about that.
They're on the same level. Don't worry
about that. He's Thierry Henry. If you can wangle 4 million out of Sky, you can wangle 25 out of Monaco.
Yeah. Jesus. It's just crazy, isn't it?
Oh dear, you're sounding very old over there, Kev.
It is, but come on.
Football, the money these days. You're Alan Brazil in about 6 weeks, you.
Do you think?
Number 2, Jose Mourinho, 31 million last year.
Jesus.
It's a bit Martin Brennan.
Yeah.
Number 2, Jose Mourinho, 31 million. Number 1, the highest paid coach in the world, Diego Simeone, 41.2 million. Oh, I love Atletico. I'd never leave Atletico. Yeah, too right you wouldn't. 41.2 million. That's impressive. Here, we take a break. We're back in a sec, full times.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
At 67 family-owned expert electrical stores nationwide, for this launch we aren't cutting ribbons. Dyson's new V11 takes cord-free vacuums to another level. Twice the suction at the cleaning head, power optimization to deep clean any surface. Cut the cord. Ask your local expert about the Dyson V11 or visit expert.ie today.
This week at Dunnes Stores, you'll find all things baby. Mix and match any 3 for €30 on selected products including Pampers Baby Dry Jumbo Plus Nappies, Fairy Non-Bio Detergent Pods 55 packs and Nikki Elite Toilet Tissues 32 packs. And save even more with our €10 off every 50 grocery voucher. Dunnes Stores, always better value. See online for terms and conditions, minimum spend required.
Not happy with your horse in the Grand National Office Sweepstake? Top tip, QuinBet has you covered right through the festival and beyond, with a huge selection of markets on horse racing plus all your favourite sports. And now with live casino and Irish lottery betting, you can find us on mobile, app and PC. QuinBet.com. T's and C's apply. Gamble responsibly. Visit gambleaware.ie.
The Audi Approved Plus used car sales event is now on. Discover your premium used Audi today with a 12-month warranty and exclusive 3.9% APR, available only at your local authorised Audi dealer. It doesn't have to be new to be everything you've dreamed of. Finance is made under a hire purchase agreement and subject to lending criteria. Deposit required. Terms and conditions apply. Volkswagen Bank GmbH Branch Ireland is authorised by the Federal Financial Supervisory Authority in Germany and regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland for conduct of business rules. Visit audi.ie/used cars.
Off the Ball. This is News Talk.
Welcome back. So we'll bring you full times Man City against Cardiff. Peter Smith.
City 2, Cardiff 0 victory with plenty left in the tank for City, but the contest almost a formality The moment Kevin De Bruyne opened the scoring inside 6 minutes with a stunning effort from the most unfavourable angle. After continuing in a low gear, Leroy Sané fighting a second just before the break from 18 yards after Jesus cushioned the ball into his path. The second half was almost like a practice routine. Foden hit the post and Cardiff keeper Etheridge made a series of fine saves to keep the scoreline respectable at City 2, Cardiff 0.
I just saw the De Bruyne goal, by the way, definitely across.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were totally right.
Left foot, yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. He took it, though.
I'm glad, Joe. You got to trust my opinion sometimes.
I hadn't seen it first, but no, you're 100%. Sorry. Spurs against Palace, Andrew Cheal.
Tottenham 2, Crystal Palace 0. The new White Hart Lane Stadium is christened with the deserved win, courtesy of Son's deflected goal and the close-range finish from Christian Eriksen, set up well by Kane's persistence. All the best chances fell to Spurs, apart from late openings wasted by Benteke and Zaha. Palace, frankly, were bit-part players on a magnificent new stage that's now home to the Spurs. Tottenham 2, Crystal Palace 0.
And Chelsea then, good night for them. Nigel, bid me there.
Chelsea 3, Brighton 0. Chelsea kept their top 4 hopes alive with this convincing win, but they needed 2 excellent strikes in the second half to see off a resolute Brighton. Olivier Giroud turned home Callum Hudson-Odoi's cross on 38, then curlers from Eden Hazard on the hour, and an even better one from Ruben Loftus-Cheek 5 minutes later ended the Brighton resistance. Next stop, Wembley for Chris Hughton's team before they resume their battle against relegation. Chelsea 3, Brighton 0.
Yeah, so top 4 situation at the moment. United are on 61 points. Chelsea in 5th on 63. Arsenal in 4th also on 63 with the game in hand, Arsenal. And Spurs are on 64. Elsewhere this evening, Real Madrid are 1-0 down as we speak. An hour on the clock against Valencia. PSG 2-0 up against Nantes in Ligue 1. And then in Scotland, Rangers, are Rangers playing? They are. Rangers 3-0 winners against Hearts Celtic. 2-0 winners away to St Mirren. Champions League next week, of course. Kev won't be with us, but don't worry, Kev, this man will.
I remember lying back, pillows on me bed late afternoon, looking up the top of my wardrobe, stacked with boxes of Moro bars. Batch low, not the heels. And butter's another thing. Over the last couple of years, I've gone back, because I wouldn't have tasted butter for about 15-20 years. Yeah, bread was a big thing for me when I went over to England. I missed it. Vienna rolls,
toast.
Rings of pudding used to sausages. My ma used to be packed in the luggage compartment on a.
Surely they did sausages well.
Right there.
English sausages wouldn't be
good.
It's some life, that fella. I can imagine, honestly, I wish I'd have had bread and sausage and everything like that sort of thing when I was a kid.
Irish recipe.
Honest to God. Jesus. Imagine him be so spoiled. I bet he was spoiled by his mum growing up, wasn't he?
I get that impression.
Honestly.
Kenny, are you hungry? I'd say was
a
staple, yeah.
His mum running around after the house, all over looking after Kenny.
So I think the lads in the morning are chasing Brian Barry Murphy, son of Jimmy Barry.
Yeah.
Who's doing very well for himself. So he's landed the post of first team manager with League One side Rochdale. He's been at the club since 2010. And I hadn't realised you played a bit of under-21 Republic of Ireland football.
I did.
With Brian Barry Murphy.
Did you? Good player. Left back. He used to play behind me, actually. Good footballer. Very good footballer.
Did he progress in the game, do you know, Kev? Or
well,
I'm not too familiar with him. He was with Cork City, reading here, and then he had spells with Preston, Sheffield Wednesday.
I kept an eye on him when he was at Preston. He said it was lower leagues where he played. He did finish. I think he finished at Rochdale. I know that he
Yes,
played.
he did.
I know he played at Rochdale. Yeah. So he played at Rochdale, and then obviously part of the coaching setup there for a number of years now as well. So he's been caretaker manager for the last 4 games. Won 2 and drawn 2. So he's had a good start, and it's now up to him to try to get them out of the trouble they've been in. They've had a nightmare because Keith Hill's he's synonymous with Rochdale, the manager who's taken over from. He's had 2 spells. He's done great at Rochdale, so it's a big one for him. It's a big one. It's great. I'm delighted for him anyway. So hopefully we'll be chatting to him come the end of the season and maybe into next season with the success that he's having.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael Obafemi's been in town. He's going to be in OTBAM tomorrow morning, and he's been speaking to the lads about various things, his favourite strikers, injury issues and his Irish heritage. Here's a little teaser of Michael Obafemi on the show tomorrow morning.
You were born in Dublin to Nigerian parents?
Yep. Yeah, my mum came over to see her sisters, and that's when Michael Obafemi was born.
Right, okay, so she had sisters living in Ireland already. Yep. She came just for a holiday?
Yeah, she just came to visit them because she hadn't seen them in like quite a while. So she came over, saw them, and then I popped out.
The rest is history, the year 2000.
Exactly, yeah, millennium baby. You know what I mean?
And how long did he hang around Dublin for?
I actually do not know.
Right.
I do not know the answer, but all I remember is growing up in London. That's all I remember, really. But yeah.
In Essex?
Yeah. Well, no, I grew up in East London.
Right.
In an area called Chingford.
Oh, yes.
And then I moved to Essex in around 2011 or so. Yeah, started secondary school. That's when I moved to Essex.
It's interesting looking back. I wonder, like, moving over to London and comparing it to what the opportunities are in Ireland. You must be thankful that you had the opportunity to be in London with all these great academies going around. And I guess the irony of that is that you actually started off playing Sunday League football.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you got to start somewhere. I started at a local team, Ryan FC, and then I got scouted for Watford. I remember, yeah, Watford, and I signed there. I signed at Watford. My brother was also there, and but he didn't get his scholarship there, and then I got released at the same time as well, and then he went to Leyton Orient, and then I quit football for a year because I don't know. Like after I got released, I don't know. I just fell out of love, you know. And I just felt a bit down, and then I eventually went to Leyton Orient with my brother, and he was in the first team there, and I was in like under 13, 14s, 15s there, and then that's when Southampton came along.
Right. Okay. What did Watford say at the time when they released you?
They actually didn't say anything to me personally. They said it to like my parents on the phone. So I was like, oh, okay.
And they just didn't see a potential there, or they clearly got it wrong?
Yeah, well, I mean, clearly. But yeah, I don't remember much about it, but I just remember my parents telling me that I'd been released, and that's about it, really.
Yeah, Michael Obafemi, he'll be on OTBAM tomorrow. Good luck to him.
Yeah,
he's doing well, and we need some strikers. David McGoldrick was on the show earlier in the week.
Yeah, listen to that.
He is a lovely player.
Good player, Joe.
Yeah, really good player.
I told you that for a long time. You might listen to me sometime.
I just thought, well, Martin O'Neill's not picking him for 2-3 years. There must be a reason. And now he sort of said himself, I didn't play great the last time I played for Ireland against Mexico, but it wasn't like we were banging in loads of goals over the last 2 years. I would have thought he would have been a good option. Now, he played down any rumours of a split with O'Neill.
Yeah.
I know.
He's not a goal scorer that's going to go and get you 25 goals in a season. He's definitely a link man. I think that's what you get the best out of him. I listened to the interview he did, and he was talking about Mick. Don't drop deep, get up, play on the shoulder defenders. That's you can see he's a very good footballer. I mean, I would always judge players when you're with them day to day in training, wrapping the ball into them. Can they take it? How do they take the ball? And I knew straight away when I was at Coventry with him what a player he was. He's a good player. Very good player.
Killian's surprised that you didn't have bread and sausages. What were you eating? Bread and sausages isn't caviar, Kev. Did you not have bread and sausages?
Joe, that would have been a luxury in my house. I'm telling you.
Are you serious?
Yes. Jesus, I was dragged up.
Like, would you not have had meat most nights?
It depends.
Bread and sausages was not a luxury in your house growing up. Was it? It was?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So what was a standard Kilbane dinner?
We might have had a bit of whatever my mum could afford.
Go away, right?
Yeah.
But I just wouldn't have thought sausages were inexpensive.
Yeah. We did have sausages for dinner here and there, But yeah, it was. Geez, I'm not going to go into my bloody life story here, Joe.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, no. Okay, we won't.
Yeah.
We won't. OTBAM is live tomorrow, 7:45. You'll hear that full Michael Obafemi interview, and then John Jaws tomorrow, and Conor Murray as well. Conor Murray's going to be on the show tomorrow with Nathan. Tom Dunn on the way next. Good luck.